Here's our reporter, Briohny Williams, live from Heathrow.
Well, the lights are back on, there are people moving around, and it's very much business as normal here at Heathrow this morning. So a stark contrast to yesterday's chaos. Now, we had a statement from Heathrow Airport earlier this morning saying if you're due to travel today, we advise you still contact your airline for the latest information before heading to the airport. And once again, it's apologised for disruption caused yesterday. So I'm in Terminal 5 and British Airways expects to put on about 85% of its flights today because yesterday meant that crew were left in all the wrong places across the world. And I'm just looking at the screen at the moment, and there are some flights that are already cancelled. So Boston, Dublin, Berlin, Chicago, Edinburgh, they've all been cancelled today. But it is relatively calm here. There are people sat with their luggage. No one seems too annoyed, and people have been arriving at the airport as usual. And everyone I've spoken to so far has their flight on schedule today, and they say they're extremely lucky. Here's a few people that I spoke to earlier.
Got here just in time. There was a couple of delays on the M25, but apart from that, it's all been perfectly fine. I received an email this morning from BA just to say that there might be delays, but we'll let you know if there are any, but nothing's come through, so it's all good.
I'm going back to Austin, Texas, which is home. I was just here for spring break. My flight was at 10 a.m. this morning, but we wanted to get here early in case it was delayed or there was a lot of chaos, and it's been perfectly fine. So now we're waiting to check in.
I'm 60 on Monday, and we thought we'd be in a gondola in Venice.
Well, we are going to be now, but we thought we were going to be at home for it.
Yes, so delighted we're flying, and actually it's perfect here.
I think the chaos of yesterday and people's flights being cancelled has meant that today will run relatively smoothly. I mean, passengers that I spoke to here yesterday were getting kind of dribs and drabs of information. They didn't know what flights they were going to be put on. They didn't even know what hotels they were going to be staying at. I spoke to a couple actually who just decided to cancel the holiday altogether. So I do feel that the kind of chaos and confusion of passengers yesterday has led to the slight serenity of today. I mean, there are still going to be lots of disruptions. Lots of the airlines have warned that it won't be completely smooth sailing today, but at least at the moment it all seems relatively back to normal here this morning.
Briohny Williams, I don't think I'll be the only person listening to your report that is going to think that's absolutely amazing, and well done to everybody involved. I'm reading reports of people that didn't actually make it back to the UK at all yesterday. They ended up in Spain, but it's good to know that today's travellers are facing what sounds like a normal service. Meanwhile, we've got counter-terror police leading the investigation into the fire. Responsible for cancelling more than 1,300 flights, 300,000 passengers affected, knock-on effects expected for days, although Heathrow sounds good. We've no idea yet what caused the fire. Understandably, when major infrastructure is drawn in, all options are being investigated. It sounds like something like 20,000 litres of oil caught fire inside the transformer. And I know, because I know the area quite well, that people are reporting a sort of acrid smell in the air. But the authorities said that the quality of the air posed no danger. But even before the flames were out, some were pointing fingers, as well as asking important questions. The International Air Transport Association said this was yet another case of Heathrow letting down both travellers and airlines. Well, I can't deny I was drawn to the comments of Willie Walsh, the association's DG, who asked, and I'm quoting directly, how is it that critical infrastructure is totally dependent on a single power source without an alternative? If that is the case, then it's a clear planning failure by the airport. And while I think it's clear that Mr. Walsh has got an angle, the fact that the world's second busiest international airport appears so vulnerable in these anxious times, I think should be of concern to us all. We are worryingly dependent on just a few major hubs as far as air travel goes, all in the southeast, despite having scores of airports around the country. There's been talk of decentralising air transport in the UK for a while now. Maybe these policies need to be ramped up the agenda above any ambition the government might have for a third runway at Heathrow. A move that would increase passenger numbers from around 100 million a year to 140 million a year. And I can't be the only one wondering this morning how yesterday's nightmare would have felt if there'd been a third more planes, a third more passengers to deal with. If you work in the airline industry, give us a call. I'd love to hear from you. 0345 6060 973, the number for your thoughts. Some of the passengers I saw interviewed as they got off the plane spoke of their fear when the pilot first broke the news. And I know more airports and more air travel may be anathema to the climate change lobby, and I understand their position. But as long as we have air travel, yesterday's incident must surely sound alarm bells for the further expansion of Heathrow, even amongst those who favour the idea. Does anyone actually favour the idea, apart from Rachel Reeves, I wonder? And one last thing, before we go to the phones. We talked a bit about the pros and cons of dynamic pricing last weekend. That's when the price goes up, the more people want the same thing. Cheltenham races we were talking about, and how the high prices might have got rid of the yob element there. But in a time of crisis, hotel charges went through the roof as news of all those cancelled flights got out there. The cheapest room at a Best Western London Heathrow Ariel hotel was an executive double. Right, that cost £72.25 next week. So last night, £650. Same at the Holiday Inn London, Heathrow Bath Road, where the cheapest rooms, a Queen Standard, a Single Standard and a Standard, were all priced at £541 on Friday. Next week, you can get that room for £87. What can you say? Rampant profiteering at the expense of other people's distress. Makes me sick. What do we think about Heathrow? Is it too vulnerable? Do we need to decentralise air travel away from London and the South East? 0345 606 0973.